My dear friends, welcome to Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday is the day of preparation for Easter. Families, religious communities, and groups usually gather to pray in preparation for the celebration of the resurrection of Christ. In the Catholic Church, there is no Mass offered in the morning of Holy Saturday. Everything and everywhere is quiet because God is dead. A German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, famously declared in his 1882 work, The Gay Science, that God is dead. He remains dead, and we have killed him. Nietzsche's view arose from his assessment of Christianity in his time. For him, the belief in the Christian God had become unbelievable. Everything that was built upon the Christian faith, propped up by it, grown into it, including European morality, was destined to collapse. Was he right? Is God really dead in this sense? Is that what Holy Saturday represents? Of course not. On the contrary, Holy Saturday commemorates the mystery of God's hiddenness, Christ's presence in the tomb, and the darkness of our disappointed hope, but most so, the anticipation of Christ's resurrection. Although Christians on this day are suspended in the discomfort of knowing that Christ has died, we await in anticipation for his resurrection. Moreover, today we reflect on the meaning of our profession of faith in the Creed, that Christ was crucified, died, and was buried, and he descended into hell. What does it mean to say that Christ descended into hell? Now, we always associate hell with the place of eternal punishment, where the wicked and the ungodly go to spend their eternity. To clarify this, it is important to know that the Hebrew word for hell is Gehinnom, which is not a concept of eternal torment in the same way as the later Christian interpretation of hell. In the Hebrew Bible, Sheol is the term used to refer to the underworld or the place of the dead, which, however, can mean either the literal place in which dead people are placed, that is, in the ground, or the ancient world concepts of the afterlife, a land of gloom and deep darkness, as we see in the book of Job, chapter 10, verse 21. Christ didn't descend into the lake of fire. Rather, he descended into the land of the dead, what is known in Greek as Hades. And from there, he brought to heaven the righteous dead. In other words, he opened heaven's gate for the just who had gone before him. This event is known as the harrowing of hell, which describes Jesus descending into the place of the dead and rescuing the souls of those who had died in faith before his own death. This is also seen as a triumphant victory over Satan and the forces of darkness. The ancient homily for Holy Saturday spells this out better, and it goes this way. What is happening? Today there is a great silence over the earth, a great silence and stillness, a great silence because the king sleeps. The earth was in terror and was still, because God slept in the flesh and raised up those who were sleeping from the ages. God has died in the flesh, and the underworld has trembled. Truly, he goes to seek out our first parents like a lost sheep. He wishes to visit those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death. He goes to free the prisoner, Adam, and his fellow prisoner, Eve, from their pains. He who is God and Adam's son. The Lord goes into them, holding his victorious weapon, his cross. When Adam, the first created man, sees him, he strikes his breast in terror and calls out to all, "My Lord, be with you all." And Christ in reply says to Adam, "And with your spirit." And grasping his hand, he raises him up, saying, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you light. Many of us have had the experience of keeping vigil when a family member or a close friend died. On Holy Saturday, the church keeps solemn vigil. As we keep vigil, we share stories about our salvation history, tracing God's mission from creation, that is the Missio Dei. As part of God's salvation initiative on Holy Saturday, we welcome and bring God's love to those who join the Christian family for the first time through the sacraments of initiation. Consequently, Holy Saturday celebrates our Christian hope that death is not the end. In the gospel of this day, the women who had come from Galilee with Jesus took spices which they had prepared and went to the tomb. In amazement, they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. But when they entered, they did not find the body of Jesus. Imagine you visiting the cemetery and the tombstone of your loved one was removed and the body of your loved one was gone. How would you feel? The good news in the case of Jesus was that he was not gone as disappearing. Instead, he had risen. The women needed to herald that news, that he is risen truly. Christ is risen, and we are the heralds of that news in the world of today. We think and behave in the language of Friedrich Nietzsche that God is dead and we have killed him. The news of Christ's resurrection must begin in our homes and extend to our offices and wherever we find ourselves. Because he lives, we can face tomorrow, and all fear is gone, and we know that he holds our future, and our life is worth living because he lives. May God bless you.